Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As I continue my mission to hone and decide on a format, I'm a big believer that half the battle is just getting stuff out there so you can try and get better week on week. So I'm back to discuss a game that I completed last night. You might recognise it. It's called Braid, and specifically Braid Anniversary Edition. This is a unique atmospheric puzzle platformer that will lure you into a false sense of security with its chilled watercolour vibes and then grab you and kick your ass up and down the street as it tries and most likely succeeds in making you its bitch. You thought you were in for a nice relaxing evening of puzzles, perhaps with a glass of wine to go with it, but what you got was akin to being buried alive in a straitjacket. Public service announcement, this game does not love you. It's a tricksy, spiteful little bastard that's only happy when it's squeezing your soul from your body, gleefully lapping up your tears of frustration. You think you're smart? Think again. Braid is smarter than you and it wants you to know it. You're dumb and you need to get back in the kitchen and make lead designer Jonathan blow a sandwich or feel his wrath. Actually, you'll be feeling his wrath no matter what you do. Just sit down and take it. That's not to say the game's bad. It's anything but. Apparently Jonathan Blow puzzle games like to lure you into a sense of security before mentally beating you into a pulp. Released on the 14th of May 2024, this Anniversary Edition comes with a graphical and audio overhaul that is honestly quite dramatic. Unless you see a side-by-side comparison, you might not actually notice it that much, because so much time has passed since the original release back in 2008, but it takes what was at the time a stunning experience and ratchets it up to a whole new level. The games industry has changed a lot since 2008, but what has never changed is the timeless beauty of a game with a coherent art style comfortable in its own skin. I'll give you a second, just look at it for a minute and take in that music. So why should you care about Braid? Honestly, that's a surprisingly complex question to answer. It's a game that requires a highly specific player in a highly specific mood. Personally speaking, when I come to a puzzle game, I come to it for exactly that, the puzzles. I want something that's going to tax my brain and not really anything else. For me, they are chilled, relaxed experiences where I'm looking to kick back on the couch and exercise my brain for a bit. Braid is this, but it's also a game that will require a skilled hand in gameplay department as well. It will ask you to work out a solution to a difficult puzzle, and then pull off an equally difficult feat of platforming at the same time. It's a double whammy of difficulty that, simply put, will either appeal to you, or it won't. And I highly doubt that there'll be many players in between. I even suspect that this is a marmite game. You'll love it or you'll hate it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. All games can't be all things to all people, and Braid certainly knows what it's trying to be and sets off on a mission to accomplish that, and it's completely unapologetic in doing so. We've touched on this already, but graphically, this game is an absolute beauty. I genuinely think that you'd be hard pushed to find a game that leans into its art style as effectively and completely as Braid does. And being an Anniversary Edition, it's had its visual and audio overhaul, bringing its style into the modern day in a way that allows it to fully realise the potential it's always had. It's perhaps a testament to the original game as much as it is the amount of time that's passed, but in booting the game up, you might not immediately notice what has changed, but when you switch back to the old graphics, you'll be blown away by just how much more vibrant and crisp the game world now is compared to what it once was. Again, I've already touched upon the puzzles somewhat, but this is what makes up the bulk of the game. Essentially, you're this little dude that sets off on a mission to rescue a princess. The game is broken up into several worlds, each of which bringing with it a new gimmick that players will need to master in order to progress. In completing each world, this will then place a piece of ladder leading towards the attic down, that when complete will allow you to enter the endgame. Without going into spoilers, the endgame hits home in a way that is completely unexpected. Throughout your time with Braid, you are given the impression that you are playing a simplistic rescue the princess game. When the game finishes, you realise that the game has been teaching you to use and play with the puzzle and time manipulation mechanics in a way that is encouraging you to look at the game through different perspectives in order to proceed. This culminates in a way that when the game ends, it's an unexpectedly powerful conclusion that has had me thinking about it since I drew my time with the game to a close. Should you buy this game? Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a niche title that I'm genuinely sad to hear that it appears to have been a commercial failure. In an industry that appears to be trudging invariably towards a single globular mass of sameness, this, even all these years later, is something that sets itself out from the crowd and should be celebrated. It shows us that games can be so much more than loot box-driven FPS, always online games. If Braid has ever piqued your interest, the good thing is that it's frequently on sale. I picked this up for less than £5 and it's been worth every penny of that. If you're on the fence, wait for one of those sales, but I suspect that you, in your heart of hearts, already know whether this game is for you or not.